remind you to pull out your phone, put it on vibrate, because I don't know about you guys, but I'm usually that person that's like, oh, I have my phone off for a movie or something like that. No, I usually am not. Like, so I'll be that awkward person that interrupts everything. So I make sure that I have it off, and I always appreciate when other people tell me to do it. Our speaker for tonight is Evan Grubb. I'm sure most of you have gotten a chance to meet him. He actually got connected with this mentorship group when he was a senior in college and going on to medical school. And since then, he's been helping a lot of people up and down the East Coast develop passive income of their own, my husband and I as well. So please help me welcome up Evan Grubb.
Good. Almost dropped the phone, man. Hey, good to see you guys. Everyone good? Everyone doing well? Enjoying the sunshine today? You just got to take advantage of it when you're in the Northeast, right? This time of year, and just thankful when you get to see some. So good to see everybody. I apologize for getting started a few minutes late, especially those who are plugging in live stream from a distance. I know a few people that don't have something local to them are plugging in, but so we wanted to get rock and roll pretty quick. I know we have a lot to cover tonight, but we're going to run through things pretty quick. I think it's, was it Henry VIII said to his fifth wife, I'm not going to keep you long, right? That's kind of how tonight's going to go, okay? We're going to run through things fast. It actually reminds me, when I was started my business down in Virginia, we did a little bit of training. As business started to grow, they kind of asked me to do a little bit of teaching on occasion, and I had to remember, though, because I'm from New York, and up here we just do things differently. We run at a different speed. You know what I'm talking about? Well, I'll include Northern Pennsylvania because I know some of you are from that part too, but let's just say the Northeasterners. We do things different. You know, we wave with one finger. We're down south, they wave with the whole hand, you know. We say things like, I'm just saying, after we make a rude comment. Down there, they say, you know, bless your heart. You know, just little differences. And so I had to remember that when I was down south doing some training. And I'm talking at a rate, you know, I have like only 20 minutes to share some information and like 45 minutes worth of information. So I got to pack it in, right? And then I get all these blank stares. People are like, what's this guy even talking about? And I was like, that's right, I'm down south. You got to slow down. You got to take your time. You got to, you know, usually just, you got to take off the jacket because in Lynchburg, Virginia, if you're too professional, then they just don't take you seriously. It's just odd. So, you know, yeah, anyway. So it's nice being here in the Northeast as we can run through some information pretty quick. I do apologize for getting started a few minutes late. It reminds me every time I get started late somewhere of just one this one appointment that I had. And you guys have elderly family members that just like take their time living life. You know, they just appreciate that they got the life to live. You know what I'm talking about? I have family members like that, but I'm with a customer, and I, you know, years ago would do appointments at people's homes, and this lady had some questions for me, so I was just kind of answering some questions. And you know, it was right before lunch. I was back-to-back appointments. I'm just like, okay, I got to run through this. So I'm kind of trying to hurry, and I'm about 5 minutes from being done. I was like, we're gonna wrap this up. This is great. I can grab a bite to eat. We're good. And the phone rang. And when you're in your 70s and the phone rings, the old school mentality is you answer it. Today, how many of you guys, if your phone rings, like, who the heck is calling me? Text, brother, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is my mentality. Like, why would you call? What's this? I didn't know this phone rang, you know what I'm saying? And so, anyway, so she picks up her rotary phone, you know, and answers it. And then you could just tell she's not planning to get off the phone. So she, in fact, goes to the other room. She's got the 100-foot cord to take it through the whole house. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's gonna take forever. So she's like, she starts asking all these personal questions, and I'm thinking, 10 minutes go by, I'm hungry, I'm gonna lose my lunch, this is not good, I don't have an opportunity to eat. So I'm sitting there, and right in front of me, this bowl of peanuts. And I'm thinking, nah, I should have touched them, I don't know her that well. Okay, so I just ate a few. And by the time she got done, I had eaten the whole bowl of peanuts. I just kind of felt bad. You know, I'm just like, as soon as she walks in, I'm like, oh no, that's not good. She doesn't know me. So immediately, my mother always told me, if you've done something wrong, just confess, just be honest. And so I was like, ma'am, I'm so sorry. I was hungry sitting here. I meant to grab some lunch right after this, but I'm running late. I ate your whole bowl of peanuts. She's like, oh dear, it's okay. Don't even worry about it. I can't eat peanuts anyway. I'm like, okay, good. She's like, I only suck the chocolates off of them. Yeah, so anyway, that's what comes to mind. But so we're going to start running into things pretty quick. I did want to give those who are plugging in live a few extra minutes to get the live stream running, just so they're able to jump in with us. But here's like Patty said, when I started my business, I was a college student. And I started my business in Lynchburg, Virginia, was going to Liberty University, was excited about my future, to be honest. I was about to graduate and go to medical school. I was looking forward to that. At the same time, I was a little hesitant. I didn't know that I want to spend $250,000 on my education. So I was kind of at this crossroads of, is that going to be the rest of my life? I was working at a hospital, and I had done some job shadowing and internships, and I realized I'd be working 80 to 100 hours a week the rest of my life in order to provide for my family. And I wasn't afraid of work. I just didn't know that I always wanted to be away from my family that much. And so I just kept questioning it. And for me, this opportunity came through a friend. And she had mentioned a guy named Nick. And Nick, at the time, he was in his mid-20s. He had replaced his full-time income. He was about to retire. He was going to be 27 years old, and he retired. I'm thinking, my goodness, obviously there's something going on here that I need to be aware of. And he talked about creating a cash flow and an asset and passive income. And I'm just like, things that were new to me. And at the time, and I understand today, passive income and asset and cash flow, that's a popular term. These are things that are commonly talked about or described. But back then, it was kind of a new idea to me because my entire life was based around working a job. You see, I went to school. My teachers taught me if I worked hard and got an education, that I would get into a decent college. And so I did. I went to private school in Virginia. And for me, I was excited about the next step. And I worked hard so that I could get into medical school. So my whole life was based around that. And eventually, in order to get a job, right? And then how many guys, when you go through that process, whether it's coming out of high school or college and you finally get that job, it's like, okay, now what? And I've heard people, they die at 25, they're just not buried till 85. Because once you start, here's what I had seen in so many people who were in their 30s and 40s, they were working for 5, 10, 15 years of their life, and they're just like, is this the rest of my life? They lived for the weekends. They lived for the 2 weeks off a year that they got, and then they worked 40 years hoping they'd have some sort of dignity to retire. And all this was going through my mind, and I'm thinking, okay, is that how it's going to be for me? But then they taught me that I heard this: you should do something you're passionate about. Any of you guys ever heard that before? Find something you love. Find something you're passionate about. And so for me, I thought that might have been the medical field. But here's why they tell you that. Here's why I heard that, was because they said, listen, you're going to do it the best hours of the day. Let's be honest. If you had to work today, some of you guys, you're still getting up when it's dark and coming home when it's dark. And that's not fun, right? So that's the best hours of the day. And then you got the best days of the week. When 5 days a week, you're basically working somewhere for someone to earn $1. And so you should be passionate about it. The best, weeks of the month and months of the year and years of your life. Because who wants to go skydiving at 70 years old? Right? I'm free. I got my retirement. I can't do anything. I'm going to sit home and suck the chocolate off of peanuts. What I'm saying? Whatever it might be. But unfortunately, some of you guys are like, oh, I get it now. Chocolate, peanuts. Yeah. So anyway. And unfortunately, that's what we're taught. And I bought into that because my whole life, that's what I was taught. But that's one form of income. That's one option that we have. We're not truly taught all the options. And so here's our story. 2.5 years into our business, we created a decent amount of income. Not extraordinary, but enough where my wife could be home full time. So we retired her. That's been 11 years now. She's been a full-time mom, wife, business owner, has helped us establish our business, and has not had to work anywhere else for a dime doing anything else than what we do here. And so what we put in for the first couple of years has paid us for the last decade and more. And so what we're describing tonight is helping people establish an income. Now, you may not want to retire. I get that. You might have something you are passionate about, but it takes some finances. It takes, some cash flow in order to accomplish those things. Maybe have a bigger goal or vision. And I do want to ask you that is, what is the reason you're looking at this? Maybe you're like me and you just weren't sure what the next steps and how your life might look over the next 3 to 5 years. Maybe you're like some other people we work with who are professionals, who've been working for 3, 5, 7, 10 years, and they realize, is this the rest of my life? Some of those that we coach, just a couple down in Raleigh, North Carolina, they do very well financially, but they work 70 to 90 hours a week, and they're just like, is this how it's going to be forever? And in their mid-30s, they're thinking, okay, yes, we make decent income, but I don't want this to be the rest of my life. What else am I going to do? And so what we've coached and helping them accomplish is replace that income before they're 37, 38, 39 years old, so they can choose how their life looks, how their day looks. And it's not based on just earning $1, but it's based on the things that's important to them. And so again, I ask you, what is it that brings you here? What are you looking for? For everyone, it's a different reason. It's a different purpose. I understand we work with people who are in their 50s and 60s who never set themselves up for retirement. And so what they do is they spend 2 to 3 years working with their business team to make an extra $60,000 to $80,000 a year. And so some of you guys, you might be thinking, I'm in my 30s and 40s. You know, some people have worked with their 60s and moving into their 70s, and they just said, this is now their retirement. And so for everyone, it's a different reason or purpose. I want you to think on that because Maxwell, I think he put it best. He says, purpose puts a steel rod in the backbone of discipline. Because if you don't know what you're trying to accomplish, you don't have the reason or purpose behind it, then you're not going to be disciplined in accomplishing it. Does that make sense? So you need to know why. You understand? And that's what I suggest you think on, because if you're just looking to make a few $100 bucks, then this is not going to be it. Will you make a few $100 bucks? Sure, I hope so. But you can do that driving for Uber or Lyft or for delivering food or for, serving people at a restaurant on a weekend. You can do that doing than this, what I'm describing tonight, because we're not describing an extra income, or some people use the term side hustle. That's a funny term to me, but that's not what we're describing. We're talking about cash flow, long-term asset that continues to pay you whether you put time into it or not. Now, yes, I'm here tonight and we're looking for good partnerships that we can help create and establish long-term business income, but over the last decade, from what we established over 10 years ago, continues to pay us every single month. I got an email on Friday that said, hey, we just put money in your bank account. I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. I opened up, I was like, oh, several $1,000s. Hey, thank you, right? But we established that years ago. Now what we're doing is helping other people establish that. So I want you to think about that. What is it that brings you here? The other question I want you to think on is, what would it take? Okay, put a dollar amount to it. What would it take to make a difference? How much would it be? Is it a few hundred? Does it take 1,000 or 2 to start making a difference in your home? If you put a number to that, because what we're going to describe here tonight or map out is a game plan of how to create that income and develop the cash flow. And it might look simple, but there's going to be some work behind it. It's not a get rich quick. We're not looking just to recruit anybody. That's not our goal or focus tonight. We're not trying to sell you on something because I don't get a recruiting fee. But what we are doing is establishing a partnership, again, to create long-term income. And so I want to share with you guys just a quick picture of our family so you know who we are. You met my wife on the way in. Obviously, if you're plugging in live, you didn't. But those who are local did. And if this would work for me, no, apparently not. So we're going to go to this. This is my family, my wife. Again, we've been in business together for several years, and our oldest is now 11, which is crazy. This picture is getting old. He is almost as tall as my wife. Pretty much every single day, he's sizing himself up to see if he's growing taller than her. I had to take a picture the other day because he didn't believe me that he wasn't yet. I was like, dude, you got. So he was going like this, to think he was still tall. Anyway, and he definitely has more weight than she's got. He's put on some mass over the last several months and working out and just putting on some muscle and trying to get bigger for ball. But he's playing sports, basketball, and baseball right now, and just loving life. His whole world revolves around 3 things right now: kind of working out, playing sports, and a dog. Every day, I'm like, dude, we don't have a dog, but that's his whole world right now. Who has kids? All right. How many of them, they just keep talking about animals? Is it just my kid? No, okay. It's not just my kid. Every day he gets like 3-4 books out of the library. We're at Barnes & Noble the other day. He's like, Dad, can I just buy this book? It talks about all the breeds and how to train them and what to look for. I'm just like, dude, stop. In my mind, I'm like, please, for 7 years, this is what I've heard every single day. And you're looking at me, those who love animals, you look at me like, you jerk. Why wouldn't you get your son a dog? I'm just like, Oh, we travel. I have a lot of excuses. It's just that, an excuse. And so anyway, that's his world today. That's what Ralph, and he's got it stuck in his mind that he's going to have a dog in like the next 4 to 6 weeks. He's like manifesting it into existence right now. And I'm concerned. You know what I'm saying? I'm nervous in our household right now, okay? So anyway, it's crazy. My 7-year-old, well, he'll be 7 this weekend. I don't know. He started karate. He didn't make the baseball team he wanted. So he's doing karate. You know, he just figured, yeah, I'm gonna kick somebody and it's gonna be legal. You know, I don't know. So it'll be good. I can put someone in the head and I won't get in trouble now. You know, I don't know what his focus is on that. But my daughter, she's in the whole ballet thing. Like many of your kids, they all got stuff going on. They all got life. But we're thankful to have a mom that can be there full time. You know, for my schedule, I do own a traditional business, and so I do have some flexibility because I hired people that can handle stuff and. You know, and just kind of gives us some opportunity to spend time with our family. And that's a huge importance to us. And one of the reasons I'm here tonight is as we identify more and better partnerships, we're able to create more stability for our family and security and free up our time. And so in my mid-30s, I'm thinking, my gosh, I'm tired of having to work and focus on, you know, something else to create income. I'm excited about replacing everything necessary in our household financially. We're going to talk about how that's done, but we're just thankful for an opportunity like this to create more time with our family. Really what's made all the difference for us is mentorship, coaching. I don't know if you guys are basketball fans. Obviously, March Madness, the tournament's coming up here starting in a couple days. And how many guys, you filled out a bracket? There's always one. Okay, good. There's one. First time this year, I filled the bracket. I was just like, there's going to be no upsets. I'm just telling you right now, outside of maybe one team, there's no upsets, okay? Duke wins it all. That's just the goal. That's what's going to happen, you know? My business partner, he sends me this little GIF today. Is it GIF or GIF or GIF with a hard G? I don't even know what it is. Yeah, you can tell my age by the fact that I don't even know how to say it. Is it even close? It's an animated thing, okay? It's like a little video, all right, of UNC winning the tournament. I was like, I sent him back. Do you guys know who Zion Williamson is? I sent him back a picture of going, and dunking it over UNC. I was like, yeah, that's a good one. That was fun. But anyway, if you're not into basketball, you have no clue what I'm talking about or care. But we're basketball fans. I grew up in Syracuse, so naturally I have to be a Syracuse fan, which is ironic because we're big fans of Duke and Coach K and their program. We've got a lot of opportunities to go over the last several years to private practices there. But for me, what I love about these pictures is the time that we get to spend with some of our coaches and mentors. In the bottom picture here in the middle, the guy, Nick, that I mentioned is the one that introduced me to this team and this mentorship program and retired at 27. He's coached so many other people how to create financial, really security in their family. I mean, dozens of people he's helped establish that in their businesses. And he led me to a guy named Darren, where in his first year replaced both him and his wife's income, where she was able to come home full time. He does own a traditional business, but it's nice because he's got employees, so he's able to free up a lot of his time. You know what he does a lot of his time now? Travels. You know, what would you do? How do you want to live your life? And so they just have opportunity. Because of their coach with Brian and his wife, Jenny, who make solid six-figure income in business after 4 or 5 years of investing into it, they've for the last decade or more have been coaching other people in a point of not having to work for someone else. And so some people call it retirement, they call it freedom. And so it just gives us access to people who've had tremendous results. And top left picture is a guy, when he sat in your seat over 30 years ago, get this, 30 years ago, same opportunity. Now, different way that they approach business because we have the internet, we have distribution today that's totally structured differently. But 30 years ago, when he sat in your seat, he was driving a UPS truck. He was in his mid-20s, and he was delivering packages for a living because that's what paid him most for working the hours, trading hours for dollars. And when he was 31, he retired from that. In his 30s, he made a good six-figure income. In his 40s, he made a seven-figure income. And now in his 50s, he's just put away millions of dollars. And from a UPS driver to making millions every single year. He's become a coach and mentor of ours, and he considers his primary home in Punta Gorda, Florida because of tax purposes, but he's got 5, 6 homes throughout the country. And how would you live, right? Those are just some of our coaches and mentors, people I work in business with. But here's really what I want to do. I want to recap some information that hopefully you guys have already received if you've read some books or sat down and discussed and described some of this opportunity with people. And here's what we already talked about. Being an employee, working on the left side of the quadrant, it's an active income. Whether you're working for yourself or you're working for someone else, you're working to make money. True? And if you stop working, do you keep making money? Of course not. Because it's based on your effort and your time. And so as an employee, unfortunately, most people, after 3, 4, 5 years, they're like, my gosh, is this all there is? What's next? And they think moving to another company, right? They felt like they put their ladder on the wrong building and they're trying to climb up it. And so what they said is, well, maybe if I just put the ladder against this building, it's going to be different. Well, there's still people ahead of you, and you're trying to climb over them, or you stab in the back, you push them off, whatever way you got to climb up that ladder. And unfortunately, that is corporate America. And when you move up in the next step in management, you have not more time, you have less because you have more responsibility. They just own you more because they pay you more. And so then, unfortunately, it's just how the structure is. And so if you're going to be involved and focused in that quadrant, then you're going to be working 40 to 60, 80 hours, depending on your position, the rest of your life, hoping to retire with some sort of dignity. You guys understand, 65, the normal retirement age is now 71, I think, the average retirement age. And if you're in your 30s, don't expect Social Security. How many of our grandparents retired off of a few different sources of income? They had a pension. Remember those days? Some of you guys still have a pension because you're working for a government facility or teacher or whatever, but most companies don't offer that anymore. They had Social Security, and then they had a savings. And then both spouses had that, so that's 5 sources of income. Now, unfortunately, if it's just us in our 20s and 30s today, that really leaves us with one source because there's really no pension for many companies any longer, and we can't rely on Social Security. So what are you doing now to set yourself up? And we're not just talking about retirement, but for the future financially. If something happened to you today, how long could your family survive financially? And so that's kind of what I looked at. And most people say, well, I'm going to own my own business. And it's true. If you want to create wealth, you have to own the business. But then I realized if you want to create time, you have to duplicate yourself. And it's hard to duplicate yourself when you own the business because people, they don't have your wants. When they're an employee, they don't want what you want. You know what they want? They just want to get paid. Is that you? You guys understand when you work for someone, you work 40 hours a week, where's my paycheck? You do the least amount of work for the time that you're there without getting caught and getting laid off, right? And that's the case for most people. So what we're talking about, describing here tonight, is not investments. Our company is completely debt-free, operates in 100 countries and territories, does close to $1 billion a month. And so we're not looking for investors. But if you have a lot of money and want to invest it properly, you can create a cash flow from it, whether it's real estate, stocks, or whatever it might be. But unfortunately, you need a lot of capital in order to create a decent cash flow from that. So what we're focused on tonight is a business system. The benefit of a business system is it's just that, a system. It's something that's already established. It's already there. It's like buying a franchise. You could buy a Subway, a Burger King, a McDonald's, a Wendy's. And when you buy into it, they teach you how to operate and own it. And the more you spend in the franchise, typically the more you're going to get in return. The more you're going to make long term, the bigger the corporation is. You might spend tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands or a couple million. But here's what I'll tell you, those who spend a couple million usually make a few $100,000 in return every single year. And so it's really based on that investment, but they teach you how to succeed. There's a system in place. And so I recognized that system was available, but I didn't have the capital to invest. And so what we've done here, guys, I'm diving into it, I'm getting pretty serious. I know you follow me, you still track it, and we're going to run through it pretty fast. So what we've done here is we've leveraged a system within the network marketing industry that has allowed us to create cash flow. Let's be honest, when you look at the network marketing industry, it's not all that positive. In fact, there's more negative than there is positive because how most people have approached it is based on a sales and recruiting technique, which is let me get you to do something for me. Which is, let me sell you on something so I make $1. Let me recruit you so you can help me make more money. That's the mentality behind majority of the network marketing companies, where how we've approached it is a mentorship and leadership business, where we're helping in a partnership to create a solid source of income, long-term cash flow. And so that's the difference, is we've leveraged it because there's really no other true way that I've seen or heard of that you can create consistent income without a huge upfront investment. I've met a lot of people. In fact, I've met and sat down and had coffee and dinner with several people that were looking for investors. One guy, he was investing in mobile home parks, and he was looking for a handful of people who'd be willing to invest $150,000 to $200,000. And he guaranteed the return of about 12%. That's better than most portfolios that they could guarantee. And so, but that was his focus. But he needed people because he had already capped out on what he could put into it. And he was trying to grow and grow and grow, but he needed other people's money to continue to grow his real estate empire, right? And so that's what most people do. They leverage other people's money because they don't have the capital to do it. We're not doing any of that here, because with a shoestring budget, you can create the same level of cash flow. An average real estate investment right now is going to earn between $450 and $500 a month. Well, let's say you need $5,000 a month to live. That's 10 properties, right? Did I do the math right? 10 times 500 is 5,000. That's only $60,000 a year. If you have a family, it's hard to live off of 60 grand. I'm just from personal experience. But let's say that's all you need. It's $60,000 a year, $5,000 a month. Unfortunately, after taxes, it's only about 35 or 40. But let's just say that's what you're making. 10 properties, an average of per property is about $250,000. That's $2.5 million in investments. Now, if something goes wrong off of one or two of those properties, most people end up being upside down on their mortgages and can't end up surviving. So they continue to have to work other places. So I'm just describing what most people invest into in order to create cash flow. Well, what we're describing here is leveraging an industry that's already been established, that people have been using for decades, but leveraging it in order to create the cash flow that you're looking for. And so as we get into how that's done, I want you to think about how business used to be done. Years ago, when we bought something, some of you guys today who are in your early 20s, it's so common just to go on an app on a cell phone, on your computer. It's probably not even on your computer anymore. It takes too long, right? To open up a computer and actually order something. It's right on an app, whether it's Amazon or eBay or whatever it might be, and order something that comes to your door the next day or two. And so, people love it. They can shop in their underwear, because when you did that before, you got arrested, And so it's common today. But here's how it used to be done. Manufacturer sold to a buyer, who sold to a wholesaler, then a retailer, then a consumer. And then decades ago, Walmart came along, and Costco and all these companies, they said, you know what, we're going to be the middleman. And we're going to build these warehouses and have stores for people to come to, and we're going to be our own distribution. So they have these regional distribution sites that get the products out to their warehouses that we buy from. And because they cut out one or two of the middlemen, they made a larger profit margin. It made sense. It was great. They could cut back prices a little bit, get you a few more products, one-stop shop. It was a good option, good resource. And then companies like Amazon and eBay came along, and people are like, wait, I don't have to go to the store? Although when you go to 2 or 3 a.m., you see similar shopping outfits as when they buy from their house, right? It's kind of scary. I don't know if you guys ever shopped at Walmart at 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't recommend it. We usually happen to do it when we're down south, and I just have to get last minute supplies. But the benefit of Amazon, eBay is you don't have to go somewhere. And you can just kind of shop around and figure out what you need, and it's just the simplicity of it. But the benefit is they don't have a retail storefront any longer. They've cut out more of the middlemen. So again, they make more profit. Jeff Bezos is now the wealthiest man in the country, worth over $150 billion. And he doesn't make a thing. He doesn't have a manufacturing facility. He has distribution facilities. He distributes other people's stuff. That's what he does. And so what we've done is we've leveraged that industry. We've taken advantage of that shift in the marketplace since the industrial age to the information age. There's been a lot of shifts. And what we've done in the last 60 years that our distribution's been in business, they've taken advantage of those shifts and allowed us as business owners to capitalize on it. That's the simplicity of our business. It's not complicated. And so what we have is 3 components to our business model. Very simple. We have a distribution, that's already established with partnerships and companies and product lines. We have a training system that teaches you how to be successful in business. And then you're the variable. I'm the variable. We're the business owner. Thankfully, I don't have to build a storefront because our business operates through so many countries or territories and cities that I don't have to be there throughout the country. Where if I had a storefront, people have to come to it to get their stuff. And so it's just the simplicity of, having it distributed to people directly. But let's talk about our education real quick. Our training system provides tools and literature and books and audios and material to help you learn how to be a business owner. Guys, understand, my background initially was medical field. I didn't know how to be a business owner, especially utilizing this industry. But I had access to the information that helped me succeed. And then they gave me access to other business owners who had created tremendous results and success at conferences and seminars and just training tools to have access to these individuals, mobile platforms where the information was at our fingertips. And so let me ask you this. Let's slow it down for just a second. If you had the opportunity to be educated, mentored, coached, trained by an individual or individuals who developed financial independence in their early 20s or 30s, making multi-millions, and were willing to spend time with you. They weren't going to charge you for their time, but they're willing to spend time with you. I mean, how much would that be worth? How much value would you place on that? How much do people even spend for that level of education? Tens of thousands? Easily. Companies spend hundreds of thousands of dollars just for information to help them, grow their management team and leadership team. Individually, people will spend today, utilizing personal growth, from apps to YouTube to speakers and TED Talks and things of that nature. People have opportunities to learn and gain information, but it's not specific or personal to them of how they can create success in a vehicle with a specific model and structure and setup. Here's the next step. So what I found here was access to information, material, and individuals that were willing to teach, educate, and coach us. Mentors along the way that were working directly with us. Huge difference. I'll give you some of the backgrounds. I realize you can't see these people individually, but I want to share some of their backgrounds. Some of them started like maybe you or I. They just were looking for an opportunity. Some of them were in college. Others were professionals, working full-time, engineers, teachers, doctors, lawyers. Some were high school push-outs that really didn't have much of, in their mind, a future. One of the gentlemen that comes to mind, he was working as a car wash manager, making $500 to $600 a week, working his tail off in order to just provide for his family, had his daughter, and saw this opportunity. Today, he makes more in a week than most people. The average American, by the way, the average household makes $55,000 a year. He makes almost double in a week what most average American households make in a year, in 1 week. That's a far cry from $500 to $600 a week. Does that make sense? And now he's been able to coach and mentor and help other people create that similar level of lifestyle and income. And he was a high school push-out car wash manager as his career. It wasn't a part-time college job. That was his go-to life. And so that's one example. Or a gentleman who graduated with honors from Ohio State, moved to Raleigh because he got an engineering degree and had a position there and was applying to medical school at the same time. His wife was an engineer as well. They started their careers. He got into medical school and saw this opportunity at the same time. He had 7 months. He said, you know what? I see the level of income these guys are making. If I could pay my way through medical school, that would help so I didn't have to 30, 35 years later finally be debt-free. And so he was going to be a brain surgeon. You understand brain surgeons are very successful in their field and career. They usually make a 7-figure income. His whole life was based around that. That's why he got his engineering degree. About 3-4 months into his medical school, he said, you know what, this opportunity is going to be able to provide more opportunity for my family and the same level of income, if not more. For the last 20 years, he's been financially independent, making 7 figures. Home with his family, raised his kids since they were born to adults. Their kids are now in business with them, also creating the same lifestyle for themselves. And so I see that type of success in the background, and I respect it. And because when we're honest with ourselves and we say, okay, what do we really want? You know, some of you guys might be like, well, I want to eat some real food. That was me when I was a broke college student, right? I was sick of ramen. Okay. Some of you guys are like, I just want to pay my bills on time. All right, let's get beyond that. Let's just say you have the money in the bank to take care of all your bills on a monthly basis. Let's say there's even a surplus. And now it goes beyond you. What really do you want next? For me, you know, kind of a passion for us today is creating a legacy for our family. Not so much so that my name is known, but so that the future generations are provided for, are taken care of, are set up. And so because I had believed it was good to leave an inheritance for your children's children. And I had learned that early on, and I said, well, what else am I going to do to create that? So again, that became a passion of ours, to establish something, but what am I doing today to set up something 70 and 80 years from now that's going to make a difference? You know, okay, let's just talk about today. Let's just say your needs are met. How many people around you are in need? And any of your guys' family have a financial need? Any friends, neighbors, coworkers? Anyone have maybe a medical bill that was unexpected? How nice would it be just to write one check and take care of it for them? And so I don't know what, again, your purpose or reason is, but I see the lifestyle these guys live. And yes, many of them, they're in multi-million-dollar homes. They have 5, 6, 7, 8 vehicles. They have many places that they live and travel between. But that was after they made a difference in other people's lives. That percentage of their income was a smaller percentage than me just to survive. And I respect it. I appreciate it. And I started to get to know these guys at a personal level. And I said, my goodness, there's nothing that compares to the coaching and mentorship that I found here. And so that's our education. And then a distribution that's provided for us as business owners. We get access to companies like Under Armour and Nike and Best Buy and Apple and Bass Pro Shops. Companies that I wouldn't be able to partner with individually on my own. Any of us, right? How many guys think you can knock on Best Buy corporate office and say, hey, I've got an idea. If I sell some products through your online store, would you give me a cut of it? They'd be like, who are you? I'm just secretary. You got to leave, you know? And so it just wouldn't go over well. But as a distribution that does millions of dollars, billions of dollars a year, they obviously provide a huge foundation for companies to want to be partnered with. So that's exactly what they've done. They also give us access to over 450 exclusive products. So now you as a business owner have exclusive rights to items you couldn't get anywhere else, and they distribute on your behalf as a business owner. Do something for me. Think about what you do to earn income currently. In the end, is a product or a service purchased? What do people buy at the end? You understand, something has to be purchased for someone to make money, right? Are they buying a product from you, or is it a service that you're getting paid for? Well, I'm a teacher. Okay, you're providing a service to educate the youth, the children. All right, it's taxpayer dollars. Or I'm in military, right? And so taxpayers pay for that service for protecting our country at whatever level. And we're thankful for that service. Well, I'm a physician. They pay for the knowledge and understanding the service to treat an issue, a symptom, a health problem, bandage a wound, whatever it might be, for the specific knowledge that you have. The more specific knowledge that you have, the more education, understanding, the more people are willing to pay for a service because it's rare knowledge information, so they have to pay more for it. Right? So anyway, in the end, something's purchased. True? Is that right? What we have access to is over 450 exclusive products and over 100 companies that people already buy from. All they're doing is buying it through your company, and you're getting paid for it. You're giving them access. So we leverage the Amway Corporation and their distribution. We contract with them. Let's put it this way. We contract with the Amway Corporation in order to leverage their distribution. Oh, and their compensation program, which, by the way, is #1 in the industry. Out of hundreds of companies that offer an opportunity for people to own a business and sell products, they're the #1 compensation program. They do the most in sales. They're completely debt-free, operate through 100 countries and territories. 9 to 12 billion on average a year currently. It's impressive how big they are as a distribution. And yet, over the last 60 years they've been in business, in September it'll be 60 years. In 60 years, they haven't missed one check. There's over almost 4 million business partners today, globally. That's impressive. That's a company that I'm comfortable partnering with. That makes sense? So why would we leverage the Amway Corporation, partner with it, and contract with them? Because they're the best. It just makes sense. Now, is everyone going to utilize their distribution the same as we do? No. Some people are going to use it as a beg and sell business, as a recruiting mindset, because you need $65 to be licensed insured, and you can register with their corporation. But in a partnership, there are certain expectations in order to help you create the results and success that you need. You don't have to earn a business owner number with the Amway Corporation, but here's what I've learned. I had to earn mentorship. I had to prove myself worthy of mentorship because people had limited time. Is that true? Is your time limited? You have responsibilities in life. And I learned people had limited time. And so the time that I was able to get with a Nick, a Darren, or a Brian, and sometimes a Mike Bundy, and earn their mentorship, it was precious. And so I appreciated whatever they could offer and the time they're willing to give. So that's our distribution. Now, you as a business owner, this is what I want to wrap up with tonight, is you as a business owner over the next 12 to 18 months, what we're working to establish. Now, let's see, this is $40,000 to $60,000 a year. Well, let's just say 18 months from now. Where are we? March? So 18 months is going to be 2019. No, so this is 2019. Oh, my gosh. 2020, and let's say September. September 2020, you're now making $50,000 a year. Let's say $3,000 to $4,000 a month with bonuses. Year and a half from now, that's from now to then, that's kind of our focus. That's what we're going to map out. When I'm saying 18 months, it took me 2.5 years. It might take you 3 or 4, it might take you 7 or 8 months, or 3 or 4 months, like we've seen people do as well. But let's just say 12 to 18 months, $40,000 to $60,000 a year. Is there a time investment? Sure. Might be 4, 5, 10 hours for you, 15, 20. I don't know what it's going to take for you. My first 8 months was 2 to 3 hours. That's all I had in my schedule to apply to our business. I just maximized on the time though. Now it starts with you. We all are consumers. We buy stuff on a regular basis. It's based on a point system. 100 points is worth about $300 worth of stuff. I realize some of you guys may not spend $300. Others of you, like us, spend roughly $300 a month on stuff, okay? Or $300 a week. And so it's going to be different for everybody. But in this example, as consumers, we buy stuff. We're going to use 100 points in this example. And just think about the daily usage: breakfast, lunch, snacks, beverages, sports nutrition, just everyday stuff, right? And so let's just say you create 100 points, but you also identified a few people who bought things as customers. We're not focusing. We're not a party to bag, door-to-door, ding-dong style business. We're not, hey, buy some Tupperware. If you got friends that are going to buy it, I'll give you a free set. That's just not our style, nor am I interested in doing that. I'm not a party-to-party style business, okay? But when we do have access to these products and partnerships that people spend money on anyway. Did anyone here use your deodorant? Don't raise your hand if you're not using it. Right, so you're going to spend money on it, and you're going to get paid back for it. Do you guys, thank you for the laugh, by the way. That was supposed to be a joke. Some of you guys thought I was too serious. You guys brush your teeth. You maybe even clean your clothes on occasion, right? We have to remind my son, my oldest, of all of those things on a regular basis. Like, dude, when's the last time you brushed your teeth, wore deodorant, cleaned your clothes, washed your face, took a shower? Have you looked in the mirror? You know, any of those things, okay? And so, but because you're going to do that, other people do those same things. And so they can get those items from your business. Why not buy from you versus Sam Walton? He's already made billions. But now your family can support your business. That's how it started for me. Let's say it's 50 points. They can buy it. If they don't even want to see it, maybe you don't want to see them. They can buy it from your retail website or your mobile platform. Simplify that transaction. They don't have to come to you. That's good. I'm not holding inventory in my house. Okay? I don't have a storefront in my home, thankfully. But in this example, you're going to make 100, maybe up to 150 bucks. I'm going to use that 150 points as an example. In our home, it's several hundred points, usually sometimes up to 100 points a week on things that our family consumes alone. And so 150 points a month is very conservative. I know a lot of single guys on our team are 200 to 300 points personally that they consume and use. And so it just kind of uses this as an idea of how basic that number is. And then from here, we're going to duplicate. We consider that an asset. An asset is something that pays you month to month. And so we're going to start duplicating it. And in this example of duplication, we're going to identify 6 partnerships. Now you can help 9, 12, 50, 100. There's no limit. There's no cap. You can help 3 to 4. But we're going to use 6 as an example. And if they just did exactly what you did, in this example, you're going to make $350. Now, if you did 300 points, obviously your income is going to be much greater if it's duplicated at 300. But we're just using 150 points. You're going to make $350 at the 12% bracket. They should always make more money from their business than you do. You get the 9% difference. They make $150. You'll make 9% of 450. What's that? $42. They made 150. You make 42. They make dollars. You make pennies. That's how it should work as a business partnership. In a franchise setting, you pay a 6 to 10% royalty for that franchise name to the corporation. Ray Kroc, he charged 6% royalty for every McDonald's that he opened up. That's a lot of 6% royalty. I think it's over 33,000 McDonald's today. Just the corporation alone makes billions, just from a 6% royalty to train and educate and help them establish their distribution and all those things. So in this example, let's just talk about our whole life is linear in process, minute to minute, hour to hour, day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year. That's how our life works, right? And so, from high school, if you took college classes, to getting a job, to working, trading hours for dollars, our life is based on a linear progression. Well, we're going to talk about a multiplication process here, because the beauty of it is your income doesn't just go up gradually. We start to multiply that income, because if each of those business owners help just 4, you're now at over 4,000 point bracket. It makes $1,700 a month. We're talking in a jump from one step to the next, from $350 to $1,700. What kind of difference does it make? That's $20,000 a year. If that's all you did, how does that help? $1,700 a month for most people pays all their bills. Not all their bills, sorry, pays their biggest bill. Some of you guys are like, yeah, it actually pays all my bills. Some of you guys are like, barely pays even a portion of them. But 20 grand a year, does it help? And so, I don't know what you do with it. For us, we did pay some bills. We finished paying for the rest of our honeymoon, because it was right before I got married, 18 months into my business. We also invested in our business. Started growing in multiple states, and so we just traveled to help people across different parts of the country, and it continued to grow. Top of the bonus chart, 7,500 points, you get 25% back on everything you purchase, and the difference from whoever you're helping. In that example, it's $3,000 to $4,000 a month. Add $3 grand every single month to your income. What would you do? Would you invest into different things? Would you put more time into your family? Would you buy back more of your schedule? How would you live? I mean, what kind of difference would it make? Would it pay a few more bills? How quickly would you pay off debt, if there is any? How quickly would you save enough money to pay cash for cars? Would you travel a little bit more? Would you live in a different home? Would you live in a different state? I don't know. When you add $3 to $4 grand a month to your income, it just buys you some options. I know for us, that was, I was 24 years old when we first hit that level in our business. 24. I was 25 when we completed it. My son was born, and allowed my wife to be home as a full-time mom. Now, she owned a traditional business. She had created quite a bit of success with it. And she, in her heart of hearts, she is a business owner. Thankfully, we were able to work together in this business, so she still has ownership in a business and helping other people create success. She chose what was important to our family, which was to be a mom. Some of you guys, maybe that's, my son was asking my daughter, my 7-year-old was asking my 3-year-old, hey, what do you want to do when you grow up? Because he's had so many people ask him that question. We never asked him that question. The question we asked is, hey, how do you want to live? What do you want your life to look like as you're an adult? What do you want to do day to day? What's important to you? Those are questions we ask our kids, because we understand when you ask them, what do you want to do when you grow up? It's, what kind of job do you want to do? That's how most, but they've been asked that question so many times by so many people, they feel like they should ask each other. My daughter goes, what are you talking about? I'm going to be a mom. I love it because that's what she sees. And how many homes don't see that any longer? You know, and so for me, that hit me like, I'm thankful we had the opportunity, and now earning my freedom, it gives us more options so that my kids, they recognize what it's like to not just have a mom home all the time, but a dad as well. And just creating that option. And so it's going to take more than $3 to $4 grand a month in our household to create that, but extra 50 grand a year certainly has helped year after year, given us a lot of financial opportunities. Maybe you like to travel. You know, for us, because there's a lot of rewards along the way, every year they send you on a trip. They give you a $15,000 bonus at the end of the year, then they send you on a free trip. It's pretty cool. This past year, it was Nashville. The year before, it was San Diego. It was beautiful out there, so we went skydiving. Are you guys interested in skydiving? Good people. There's always a couple. All right. It's better to go when you're in their 20s or 30s, not in your 70s, right? So we had time and money to do it. And skydiving is not all that expensive. A couple $100, you can go skydiving. Sign a waiver that says if I die, I'm not going to sue you. Or my family won't. I don't know. Maybe. Kind of crazy. But then you spend a couple $100 also for someone to video you, because when you do it, you want to make sure you get it on camera, you know. And so someone jumps out with you, and they're just like in your face. You're like, yeah. So that's what that was. And thankfully, that picture didn't show. I realized how much weight I had gained because my cheeks were all the way up to my forehead. Anyway, so just some fun. Then next month, we went to the Ritz-Carlton in Key Biscayne, Florida, which is just below South Miami. And it's a nice little island, kind of a ritzy part of Miami. And stayed there for several nights just because it was warmer there than it was here. You know, where would you go? How would you live? Where do you want to travel to? This was Jamaica a few winters before that. Several cruises. I had never been on a cruise until I started working with the business team. And then they paid for cruises, some along the way. We paid for some of our own, but it's just nice to have opportunities. We consider them floating buffets because I gain 10 pounds every time I go. It's 24/7 eating. I get up at 3 a.m. just to see if there's still food there. And there is. And I ate it and went back to bed. Got back up at 6. Man, there's always food. This is good stuff. And then you get off at wherever you're at, and you're just like, man, I'm so full. And then you're like, but I'm in Jamaica. I'm in, somewhere in Mexico. I'm wherever, Bahamas. We're in Nassau, Bahamas. Like, I got to eat this food too, of course. And so it's 24/7 eating. I love it, and that's just my style. So my wife says this is so true. We plan our excursions and our life based around food. We had an event that we had to go to this past weekend, and we're just like, well, we want to support the family. We want to be there. But we're going to go eat ahead of time. And the whole time I was there, I was like, support the family, encourage my wife, and I'm like, after this, is there Starbucks open? My whole mind is just based around what's next for food. Anyone else think that way?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm not the only one. There's at least 2 or 3 guys. Okay, that's how my life works. So anyway, it's sad but true. So we just good quality food. I didn't realize that steaks could cost $150 or $200. So I started hanging out with some of our leaders and mentors, and opportunities for our family. Again, you might not be a sports fan, but our kids love Duke because they've met Coach K and they feel like they know him personally. And he took time to just kind of get on their level and get down on his knee and welcome them. Gave our son a hug and said, yeah, let's get a picture. Signed their hats, their basketballs, and her teddy bear that she got at Duke is affectionately called Duke, naturally. And so just opportunities. Again, it's not about us, but how do you want to live your life? It's not about the income. It's really about opportunities and what we can provide for our family. And so the point of this is not to say, hey, look at us. It's to say, hey, look at what your life can be. We're realizing more options and opportunities. One of the reasons I love having business across the country is because we get to travel there. One of the gentlemen that is plugging in from a distant location, he's close to Boston. He's like, I don't travel to Boston a lot. I was like, well, when we come up and start working with you and coach and mentoring you, can I go to Boston? Because we like taking our kids on the Freedom Trail. Last time we coached and mentored someone in Boston, that's what we did. And they remember it. Well, now our daughter's old enough to remember those things, and so we want them to experience. And naturally, what we did after the Freedom Trail? Guess what we did? We ate food. We went to a restaurant. We tried to find the nicest restaurant in town. It was the best pizza it was like gourmet pizza. It was phenomenal. I still remember to this day. I just want to go back to that place to pizza. I don't know where my wife is, but I was trying to catch her eye, see if she remembers. It was so good. I just think I gotta go back to Boston just for that. I gotta find what that restaurant was, right? So anyway, and it was kind of down some nice alleyway. It was just in the middle of the city. It was awesome. So just opportunities. How do you want to live? What do you want to do? Now, the reason I'm here, and I need to wrap up real quick, is because we're trying to identify people over the next 12, 18, 24 months that say, I want to make that 50 grand. As a result, here's how I provide security for our family. And as you help other people provide security for your family, that's a 6% leadership bonus. All right, so Duran, let's say we're helping you. You're making $50,000 a year. That's going to pay for our family an extra 6%. That's $15,000 a year, right? Nick, if we're helping you make $50,000, is it okay that they pay us $15,000 in leadership bonus? Yeah, you want them to pay me 15 grand because it's incentive to help you. When every year that we're at the 25% bracket and over, Nick gets a 6% bonus check. You know what? The more income we make, the more money he makes. It's mutually beneficial. That's why franchises are so popular, because it's mutually beneficial. We help you, we also succeed. And so you might think we're doing this out of the goodness of our heart. No, it's a selfish ambition. I'm doing it because we want a 6% check. I'm no saint. We want to provide security for our family. We want to be able to create enough income where when it's cold here, we find someplace warm. My oldest son, he likes the cold. For me, I'm a warm weather guy. Hey, where is it going to be warm? And if it's cold, it better be because I'm skiing, right? Or there's a hot tub close by. So how do you want to live your life? And for us, it just meant we've had to provide security, and which meant helping other people succeed. So it helps you. And the benefit of you helping other people, it provides more security for your family. So $15,000 through 3 different business partnerships is $45,000, plus the 60 grand that you've established, $105,000, plus bonuses, $150,000 a year. Here's some of our friends and mentors that have completed that project. One down here in the bottom right, that's some of our mentors in Raleigh, North Carolina. Him and his wife, they made 6 figures in their career, both independently. They replaced that. Took them about 4 to 5 years to replace that. And for the last decade or more, I guess 12 or more years, they've been financially free and independent. Some people, like I said, call it retirement. They just consider it freedom. One of our friends in Richmond, Virginia, that's a picture with his son. His son, about 7 years ago, started focusing on basketball, and he wanted to be a full-time dad, but he was making $250,000 in corporate America. Thankfully, his business had grown to a 6-figure income. He put 6 figures in the bank, debt-free, and retired at 37 years old. Spent the last 7 years with his son. He's now an incredible basketball player because his dad's there every day to help just guide him, coach him, get the best coaching and mentorship in that sport. And so just one of our friends in Richmond, Virginia, another friends of ours down south in their mid-20s. When he was 19, he saw this business. When he was 21, he retired. When he was 22, he was making 6 figures. When he was 23, he was making about $200,000 a year. Got married at 25, made about $300,000 that year. 25 years old. His wife was a chemist. 3 or 4 months after they got married, she retired because chemists who just graduate college don't make 6 figures. But they were making $300,000 a year in their business, and last year they made over $400,000 at 26 years old. And so that's just an example of a young couple, so it's early 20s, was retired and now making Now, here's what's crazy. Next year, their income is 2020, their income is about doubling. How would you like at 27 years old make $800,000 to $1 million a year? Same opportunity, same vehicle. You know what he did in his first year? No results, no success, nothing to speak of. Wasn't even really coach and mentor. Didn't listen to mentorship for 9 months. 3 months later, because of partnership, coaching, and mentorship, he's making $3 grand a month and just continue to grow from there. And so that's just another young couple, young example that you might be related to. There's no limit or cap to your income. You can help as many people as you want. So I just wanted to give you that perspective. There's more opportunities, the more travel. I don't know what your purpose or reason is. I just wanted you to realize there's no ceiling. In fact, the Amway Corporation is one of the only ones in the industry that doesn't put a cap on how much money you can make. I think it's beautiful because everywhere else you go, there's a limit. There's a cap. Whether it's based on position, title, unless you own the business, there's only so much money you can create, so much time that you have. And so what my recommendation coming out of here is get back with whoever's helping you, who's invited you, because what they're going to do is develop a game plan that's specific to you. This was general information covering more specifics about our business, but now you need specifics for your business, what it's going to look like, what your goals are, what the expectations would be in a partnership, what I would expect from someone and what you should expect from me. I've heard it said this way, because I get it. Many of you guys, you didn't know me and you don't know me. And so if you just gave me 10% of your trust, I'll earn the other 90%. Because we understand a partnership is based on trust. And we're going to earn that by helping you accomplish some of your goals. But we need to help establish what those are so we can develop a game plan to work towards those. And that's really what's next. But let me be honest. If it's not for you, if you didn't connect with some of the things, then be honest with them. Let them know. Because it's 2 to 3 years to help establish a foundation of solid income. That's why we take 2 to 3 weeks to make sure you have the right information before we launch into a partnership. Does that make sense? Is that fair? I think it's fair. And so I've appreciated it along the way, and I've seen that's a great way to establish business. But guys, I'm glad you had a chance to come out and for your openness and laughing at some of the dumb jokes I had too. That's always nice. Nothing worse than when you have a dumb joke and people don't laugh. It's terrible. So that happens to me a lot, by the way. Way too much. I laugh at myself. I try to my kids and they don't get it. So I'm like, maybe I'll try it somewhere else. Wrong decision. Anyways, good sharing with you guys. Appreciate the opportunity. I'll let Patty wrap it up. Thanks. Have a good night.
I'm glad that he mentioned